Hello and welcome. Today, courtesy to a friend, we'll be filming a BMW 740i from 2020. With that said, let's start with the exterior walk around. Now, of course, from this generation BMW, they're very proud with the carbon core, where the main part of the chassis is built of carbon fiber, and of course you have soft close doors. The specific vehicle is equipped with, I believe, the smaller rim options, pretty basic. You have the BMW LED light and the massively big grille. That's way too big for the size of this car. I do like how the headlight design is angled that way. I always love BMW 7 Series headlights, or honestly any BMW headlights always looks pretty good. General design, it is from the side view profile, you can see the length of the vehicle. The rear doors are quite a bit longer than the front, as all limos are. Now check out the trunk. There is some stuff in the trunk. Automatic tailgate, some stuff. Pretty big, very deep. Load floor is very much average. There's auto stop function. You have your first aid kit here and BMW roadside assistance kit. No triangle in here. You can lock your trunk or just power lower it. Now let's check out the inside. Starting with the rear passenger. The wind is pretty strong today, so that. Very comfortable sitting position. This car, as I said before, is not very highly optioned, so you have a big storage down there, a bit of storage here, you have your ashtray here, and this car is equipped with a pretty nice Harman Kardon stereo system. If I were to say, I'll rank it as good as a Lexus LS Mark Neveson, which will be an A+ system if we're ranking out to S. Plenty of legroom, like the LS I reviewed from Nungo Lexus a couple of months ago. Seats are comfortable, but they're harder than the Lexus seats. You have your rear sun straight over here. We'll test out, does that go done automatically in reverse like the Lexus. I like the door handle design, I like the wood trims. However, overall, I prefer the look of the Lexus interior. Now let's talk about the front seats. Of course, every door in this car is equipped with soft close doors. Checking out the front seats, driver's seat, you have a center console. Press this, double open. Cup holder area here, USB charger, wireless charging pad there. You do have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Cup holder fits a nice bottle of Fiji water over here. It's classic BMW iDrive store storage. Material over here, leather, but that just feels cheap. I do not know the original MSRP of this car, but I imagine be around the $90,000 price range, which means the build quality itself feels better than Lexus LS because this doesn't wobble, but material wise the leather doesn't feel as high quality, and the seats are definitely not as soft, and this car does not have massaging seats unlike the Lexus. With that aside, let's go for a drive. Okay, let's begin the drive with what I tested out with the Lexus LS, and as I mentioned earlier, does the rear sun blind go down automatically when I put the car in reverse? It does not. 1 point for the Lexus. Let's check out the reverse camera. Yeah, I do have a less 360-degree top-down view here, and I do like the flashing sensors on each side that tells you how far you are from the curb. Alright, with that said, let's do a turning radius test. Seatbelt automatically tugs in a little bit, hug you. Crank the wheel. For a fairly non-limo type car, that turning radius is not bad at all.
Video protected.
You have your drive mode selector down here. I'm going to start out in Comfort Plus mode. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe this vehicle is powered by the legendary, well not legendary, B58 inline-6 3-liter engine from BMW. which is an engine I've driven in many cars. Same engine, of course, in the X5 that I drove that I did not film, and same engine in the Ineos Grenadier, the new Supra, the 3 Series, the 5 Series, etc. This is undoubtedly a better engine than what is in the LS500. Starting out in Comfort Plus mode, immediately something I could notice about this against the Lexus is the ride. The Lexus has that extra bump when you put it in Comfort Plus mode, the extra floatiness, where to the point with normal mode and even sport mode in the Lexus is more comfortable than comfort mode because of how it controls the body more. This doesn't seem to be doing that. In Comfort Plus mode, it's controlled. I don't feel extra motions, and it's just generally a very nice damping. Now, road noise wise, it's actually not been that long of time since I've driven an LS. A couple of weeks ago, I got a lot of LS on the car, so this will be a pretty direct comparison. I do feel like this has a little bit less tire noise. Although I cannot say much about wind noise. Today is an extra windy day, so there will be a little bit more wind noise. But I do feel like general impressions of this is insulation wise, tire noise is better than Lexus. I don't know much about wind noise, but I feel like the Lexus has a little bit less wind noise. Coming up to a turn and a braking though. Something I've noticed about the brake of this car is the brake programming, the brake module. It feels very similar to every BMW I've driven, which is that to say, first bit of product doesn't have much, and then when you press the pedal more, it kind of just gives you an emergency, more like a not a brakes all of a sudden. I'm not a big fan of BMW brake system, and the brakes are strong. They're definitely confident inspiring, which is to say they're more sensitive than the LS brakes, but the programming of how the brake engages doesn't feel as accurate or as easy to control. Now cruising in Comfort Plus mode, let's try regular Comfort mode, see if there's any difference. Comfort Plus, Comfort. Okay, I don't think there's any difference between Comfort and Comfort Plus. There probably is some like millimeters of adjustment that the BMW engineers worked on, but as a human, I cannot feel that difference. Now let's talk about the steering wheel. The steering wheel, of course, shared between every single BMW from this era. You have, I believe, what's to be volume controls here, your cruise controls here on this side. This is also adjusts volume, as I've tried out earlier. And of course, you have BMW's gesture control. And there's nothing playing right now, so can't really demonstrate it. Coming up to the braking zone. Yeah, the brakes are 100% more difficult to modulate than it is with the LS brakes. You have auto start stop, which is a feature that LS doesn't have. I do notice, you could very obviously notice the engine turning on and off in this car with the auto start stop. Never driven one of the mild hybrid versions. I do really want to try out, say the new 440 with the mild hybrid. Let's see if that's not smoother. Ooh, that's something interesting. I just noticed I have 1, 2, and 2, 3 shift back there. Ooh, train tracks. Yeah, suspension installation program of this sort. Suspension, I would say Lexus is pretty close to this. But tire installation, this car definitely has a beat. But again, I don't really like how this is quite cheap feeling material in a big luxury car. I do like how BMW got rid of their stupid turn signal thing, and we just went back to a regular turn signal. You do have automatic wipers in this car and surround camera view here for safety. This is apparent. It appears that you could adjust the individual climate sites to be warmer or colder. This I feel like it's just gimmicky because right down here is just a temperature control where I could adjust it. That's a bit gimmicky. Radio presets, everything. The entire climate control button section here is now replaced by a small touchscreen. Overall impressions of the interior, it's a comfortable place to be in, that's for sure, especially with these now depreciated into the mid $50,000 range. B58 with a ZF transmission. This level of comfort for about 50k, you can't really complain much. Paddles, there's a bit of soft padding on the back of it, but otherwise feel plasticky. This is definitely an easy and comfortable car to cruise in. Now, if I were to be given the option, I've never driven an S-Class before. I've driven an S-Class Coupe for like a pretty short test drive at a dealership. I would say the S-Class still does the installation the best. Going over some of these more bumpy surfaces of the road, the cracks, you can definitely feel a little bit of it, but not much. It's a very, very insulated cabin in this carbon core chassis. Alright, coming up to the highway on-ramp now. Now it is raining over there slightly, so in a moment we'll be getting some rain footage as well. This vehicle hides its speed really well, but that's kind of what you want in a big luxury sedan. The steering wheel is heavier than the LS for sure. I do like the texture of it, but I feel like Lexus just makes a better steering wheel. That makes me feel more luxurious when I'm holding onto it. Alright, let's try sport mode. Manual transmission mode. Okay, let's try see how it feels on highway and ramp. Definitely more confidence inspiring than the LS ever was. The front end is more direct. The steering ratio feels quicker. This gearbox is a lot more sporty, more dynamic than the Lexus gearbox is. So 8-speed ZF. Lock it back to drive mode. In sport mode, you can notice the steering weight's up. Steering is more heavy. It feels a little bit artificially heavy instead of natural heavy. And the throttle is more responsive. You don't hear pumping engine noise like you do in the LS, which is a big surprise to me, given I expect BMW pumping some of those glorious B58 noises. Alright, let's put it back to Comfort Plus mode. On the highway, I know it's a windy day, but here's where you can notice the Lexus definitely has better wind insulation. However, this car's tire insulation is better. I do feel, even on these crappy US highways with the concrete instead of asphalt, I'm not hearing much tire noise right now, and I'm barely speaking very loudly at all. Going over some potholes on the highway, still very insulated. In fact, I feel like now I've driven a little bit more, this is a more insulated experience than the Lexus LS. The Harman Kardon speaker system is pretty good. Definitely also on the same level as the Mark Levinson. I would say Mercedes Burmester is still a better system though. Again, the brakes is a bit hard to modulate smoothly. Okay, let's try out the B58 a little bit. Yeah, definitely get up to speed up better than the LS does. However, I do seem to remember in the B58 form, the 740 form of this car, it makes less power than the LS. Inline-6, however, this is a smoother engine. Unlike the LS, I feel completely insulated. I don't feel the engine vibrating at all. And that's just the inherent smoothness of an inline-6 against a V6. Obviously, B58 also now proven to be quite a reliable engine. Just the biggest drawback so far from driving this car is the brake modulation. In comfort mode, the steering is light, smooth, easy, predictable. I can hear the V8 engine right now, but nothing too bad. Now this will be a bit of a short review because due to time constraint and everything, but if I were to say, to give a conclusion on the two luxury limos that I've now reviewed on this channel, to drive, I would prefer this. Oh, train tracks coming. This is 100% a better car to drive against the Lexus LS. But if I were to just buy a car and all I need to do is get from point A to point B comfortably, I think I would still prefer the Lexus. It's a cheaper car when new. On the used market, these are cheaper, and I'll probably trust the reliability on this with the B58 engine. However, I prefer the Lexus interior design much more than I prefer the BMW interior design. Again, everything's up to preference, but I could deal with the slightly wobbly center console in the LS for that beautiful door design with the curve and the lighting. Now, oh yeah, if this video was filmed at night, I could show you guys the beautiful ambient lighting, but obviously it does have ambient lighting unlike the Lexus. However, I do find like I'm okay with just white ambient lighting. That's not the biggest concern for me in a car. The Lexus is a more relaxing environment to be in. The interior design of it just calms me down more than the interior design of this car. This just feels like a 5 Series, but a bit bigger. We just say, as well as the seats, the Lexus having softer seats as well, it's just more of a more comfortable experience to me. With that said, of course, with that said, if you guys are more interested in driving your full-size luxury sedan, if you will actually ever take your luxury sedan on the Cayenne, which of course no one ever does, this will be a better car to drive if you were to actually do any sort of sporty intention driving. As well as being a more insulated tire experience, I do feel like though the LS, part of it reason being more tireless is just a tire that Lexus to put on those cars. That could just be a tire issue. Now I'll end the review here, and as always, thank you for watching, and go enjoy, go out, have a good drive.